Tomorrow is officially the first day of fall, and with these recipes, I am so ready. Hey guys, my name is Vanessa, aka Lemonade Mom, and I have 5 pumpkin recipes to share with you guys. I am cooking them in my Instant Pot, and this is actually a collab with Jennifer over at A Little Bit of Calm and Crazy. I am in love with her channel name because that is totally my life. As a mom of 4, it gets very hectic, and she is also a mom, and she shares a lot of DIYs. If you guys love the Dollar Tree, she frequently shops the Dollar Tree. She does some cleaning motivation videos, and of course, recipes. So after you check out the 5 pumpkin themed recipes that I'm sharing with you guys, she has 5 fall inspired soups that she is sharing. So I am super excited to go over there and get some more recipes for this fall season, because I don't know about you guys, but I love the fall. So I am gonna have a link to her channel in the description box so you guys can check it out, and I'll also post it up in the iCards. So I'm gonna take you guys down and let's check out these pumpkin dishes. So I don't know about you guys, but I love oatmeal, especially in the fall. There's just something about a nice warm bowl of oatmeal with my coffee in the morning. And of course, the star of this oatmeal is the pumpkin. So here's all the ingredients. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 cup of steel cut oats, that's what I've got in here, 3 cups of water, 1 cup of pumpkin puree, 1/4 cup of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. This smells so good. And then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So what we are going to do first is we are not going to melt our butter. We're actually going to melt it in the pot. So I've got my butter in there, and then I am going to press saute. So we are just going to let the butter melt in here, and then we're gonna add the oats. All right, my butter is melted, and now I'm going to add the oats and stir it constantly for about 3 minutes. It's gonna start to smell kind of nutty. 3 minutes is up. Now we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. So I've got my pumpkin pie spice, my cinnamon, salt, maple syrup, water, and the pumpkin. So I'm gonna stir all of this up. It smells good already. So time to cook. Put our lid on, make sure the knob is sealing, and we are going to turn off the saute. Then we're gonna do manual high pressure for 10 minutes. Okay, it is done, and instead of keeping it on warm and letting it naturally release for 10 minutes, I'm actually going to turn it off so it stops cooking. I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes. Once that 10 minutes is up, that's when I'm gonna come over here and do a quick release for whatever pressure is left in my Instant Pot. All right, 10 minutes are up. Now we're going to release the rest of the pressure by pressing or turning your nozzle to venting. Pressure is released. We're gonna open the lid. Look at it bubbling. We're going to stir it up, and then I've got, because this pot, the inner pot is super hot, I'm going to put on some oven mitts, and I'm going to take the inner pot completely out of the Instant Pot. So now that I've got the pot out, we're going to let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes just so it can thicken up to whatever consistency you like your oatmeal to be. Breakfast is served. I like mine a little on the thicker side, so I let it sit for a little bit. It's pretty thick. However, I love adding some crunch to my oatmeal. So I've got some granola in here. You could even add a little bit more maple syrup on top if you wanted, but I think the flavor is spot on. It has enough flavor, so no maple syrup for me. And of course, I'm having it with a cup of coffee, and there's no such thing as too much pumpkin spice. I've got some pumpkin spice creamer in my coffee. So breakfast is served. Enjoy. Next up is pumpkin bread. I am really excited about this because I have a really good banana bread recipe. I'll have it up in the iCards and in the description box, but I love it, my family loves it, so if this turns out, we're gonna have a new fall favorite for sure. So for this recipe, you're gonna need 1/3 cup of butter at room temperature, and that equals out to 5 tablespoons, so I've got that here. Then you're gonna need 3/4 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 1 cup of pumpkin puree, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 cup of flour. I have whole wheat on hand. It really doesn't matter. Whatever flour you like, I'm gonna go ahead and use the whole wheat. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of the cloves, and 1/4 teaspoon of the ginger. So first, you're gonna get a large bowl. I've got my butter in there. Remember, it's 5 tablespoons, and I am just going to use my hand mixer to break it apart, get it into little clumps. And this is why I use a large bowl, because it can get messy. Now I'm going to add my sugar, and then I'm going to, again, use my hand mixer and just cream these two together. Now I've got my egg in there, so I'm gonna mix the egg in with the butter and the sugar. All right, and we're just gonna keep on mixing. So now I've got the pumpkin and the vanilla in here, and we're gonna mix this up. All right, that is all mixed up, and now I've got a smaller bowl, and in this bowl I'm gonna put all the dry ingredients. So the flour, the baking powder, the baking soda, and all of the seasonings. All right, all my dry ingredients are in there. You can use a fork. I'm just gonna use a whisk, makes it a little bit easier, and I'm just gonna mix all of those up. And now we're just going to add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients. And then not with a hand mixer, but just whatever kind of spoon you want. I'm just using a wooden one. We're just going to fold it and mix this all together until well combined. Our batter is all mixed up. Now I have a 7x3 pan here. I actually got this as a stackable set. I'll leave the link down below. I did spray it with some cooking spray, so I'm going to put my batter into the tray or the pan, and then I'm going to cover it with foil, just so once we get it in the Instant Pot with the water on the bottom, the condensation doesn't mess up the bread. All right, I did go ahead and try to even it out as best I could. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover this with the foil, and then in my Instant Pot, I do have a trivet and 1.5 cups of water in there. Everything is in there. We are going to close the lid, make sure it is sealing, and then for the long part, we're going to cook it on manual, high pressure, and we're gonna go all the way up to 60 minutes. Because bread does take a long time to cook, even in the Instant Pot. Okay, I did go ahead and let it release naturally for 11 minutes. 10 is just fine. And now I'm going to do a quick release for the rest of the pressure. All right, it smells good. As soon as that pressure started releasing out the top, I could smell it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. Remember, it is going to be hot, so you're gonna need some oven mitts. And then I'm gonna take the foil off. All right, foil is off. It looks good. I pressed down on it a little bit just to make sure it wasn't gooey. It looks like it's done. I am gonna let it sit here uncovered for about 10 minutes, let it cool off, and then we'll take it out of this pan and slice it up. All right, I wanted to show you guys the bottom of it just so you guys saw how well it cooked. Let's see if I can flip it back over with one hand without breaking it. Ah! There we go. I did already snag a piece off of it, and let me tell you, the flavor is so good. I'm definitely going to be making this one several times and sharing this with all my family and friends, including you guys, because this is definitely a keeper. Even with the wheat flour, I do want to try it with regular flour also, but the flavor is just delicious. So there's the pumpkin bread. Definitely a thumbs up in my book. We are going to make some pumpkin butter. I'm so excited for this. So I've got all my ingredients. This one is pretty much just dump and go. So I have 1/2 cup of honey. My Instant Pot is already plugged in. I'm just going to pour that in here. I will go ahead and get a spoon and just scrape all of that out into my Instant Pot. 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. Again, just dumping it in the pot. And in this bowl, I already have peeled, chopped into tiny little bite-sized pieces. The recipe that is linked down below calls for 3 apples. Mine were really on the small side, so I have 4 little like snack size apples in here, and those into the pot they go. And next up, I have some hard cider, just 1 bottle. Entire 12-ounce bottle is going in the pot. For your sugar, you're gonna want 1 cup. Dump that in. Then you're gonna need 2 cans of pumpkin. These are 15-ounce cans. So if you guys saw my video last Friday where I showed how to do your own homemade pumpkin puree in the Instant Pot, you can cook enough of that so you have 30 ounces. So I'm using 2 cans for this specific recipe just because I don't have the pumpkin anymore. I've already used that puree. Once you've got the pumpkin in there, you're just gonna do a little bit of salt, however much you want. That's it. Now all the ingredients are in here and we are just going to stir them all together, mix them up until they are all nice and combined. Smells so good already. All right, my Instant Pot is already plugged in. I am closing the lid, making sure it is sealing, and we are going to do manual or high pressure for 10 minutes. Time is up, and now we're going to let it do a natural release. So when your Instant Pot, the time goes off for the cooking time, it automatically goes to keep warm, and then it starts counting up how many minutes it's been on keep warm. So I'm gonna leave it here for 15 minutes, which means I am not going to turn this nozzle. I'm gonna leave it to on the ceiling option, and then once the 15 minutes has passed, then we're gonna do a quick release for the rest of the pressure, and that's when we'll come back and turn the nozzle from sealing to venting. Okay, so it's been 16 minutes, not 15, but we're gonna go ahead and release the rest of the pressure. Not that much in there. So now all the pressure is released. We can open our lid. Oh, yum, look at that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir this up. So now that my apples are cooked and nice and soft, I have a little masher here, just makes it easier. I'm gonna go ahead and just mash them up a little bit. If you wanted to keep them chunky, you totally could do that, or you could let this cool, put it in a blender, and really blend it up. I still want mine a little bit chunky, so I'm just using this masher. Okay, one little thing I wanted to share, just so you guys realize, now every time you use your Instant Pot, you should definitely clean the top, clean the rubber band, and take this off and rinse it off, because if your Instant Pot ever has trouble coming to pressure, it might mean something is clogged in there from previous cooking. Now, whenever you make any kind of jam or butter, this is what happens. It definitely gets messy and splatters all over the place while it's cooking. So I know that there's gonna be a lot of stuff in there, so you really need to make sure you clean it out nice and good before trying to cook anything else. But on a good note, this turned out amazing. Now I did go ahead and jar it up because I'm going to be giving some away as gifts. So I've got 3 full jars here, and then about half of a jar. This one I'll be keeping for myself. I'll probably keep 1.5 for myself and give 2 away as gifts. But definitely as fall gets closer and closer and we get into the season and it starts cooling off, depending on where you are, these do make really fun gifts to give. You can see how much it made there. I've got 3 of these small jars. These are Pioneer Woman jars that I picked up from Walmart, and then I did label them and I put the date, because you can't can butter. It just doesn't have a shelf stable lifespan. So you are gonna keep this in the refrigerator. Once you let it cool off, it is gonna become more of a butter consistency, and it lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks only in the refrigerator. So I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. But I cannot wait for this to cool off, and I am actually going to be using this on some pumpkin bagels that I picked up from Trader Joe's. So the next 2 recipes are going to be in the new edition. Yes, I now own 2 Instant Pots. I'm really excited. That's how much I love Instant Pots. I picked this one up from Walmart, but this is the new Pioneer Woman. It's still the Instant Pot brand, so it is a pressure cooker by Instant Pot. Pioneer Woman just has 2 versions that she designed for the company. So I figured I would pick up a more pretty and, you know, aesthetically pleasing looking one. So the next 2 recipes are gonna be made in this, so I can just get used to this kind because it is a little bit different from my other one. But now we are going to make some caramel pumpkin cheesecake. I am super excited. I love cheesecake, I love pumpkin. So 2 of my favorite desserts mixed together, and this is everything that we are going to need. So for the crust, you're gonna need 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Now I went ahead and bought the crumbs, but if you have graham crackers, you know, from the summertime, from cooking s'mores, you can just crush those yourselves. I just went ahead and bought the crumbs already pre-crushed. Then you're gonna need 4 tablespoons of butter. We are going to be melting this. 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and that is it for the crust. Then for the filling, you're gonna need 16 ounces of cream cheese, and I'm letting this sit out so it gets nice and soft, easy to mix up. 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of the pumpkin pie spice. We're gonna use 1/4 cup of sour cream, 1/2 cup of the light brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and 1 cup of pumpkin puree. Now this is the homemade pumpkin puree that you guys have already seen me make in the Instant Pot. And then you can top it however you want. I am just going to use this Ready Whip. My kids get a kick out of this stuff. And for the caramel, I picked up the good stuff this time. So even though there's no water in the recipe, if you guys are not new to the Instant Pot, you know that the Instant Pot needs water to come to pressure. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my pot set up, and then we'll get into the recipe itself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 1 cup of water at the bottom of my pot. And then I don't want this to sit directly in the water, so I'm gonna use the trivet. This is the one that came with the Instant Pot, so the other one I have has little handles on the side to pull it up easier. So we'll see, I've never used one just like that, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there, and now my Instant Pot is ready for when we get the cheesecake ready to cook. So first up, I'm just gonna grease my pan. This is what I'm gonna be using, just original pan. You guys can use whatever you want, and this is a 7-inch springform pan. I don't think you can use anything bigger than that. This is pretty much, the next bigger size is 9 inches, and that's gonna be too big. So I'm just using this 7-inch one for my cheesecake. So first up is the crust. All the ingredients that I told you, that's what I've got in this bowl. I do have the recipe that I'm using down below if you guys want to print it out or need a refresher. So I've got the graham cracker crumbs, the melted butter, the brown sugar, and the pumpkin pie spice, and I am just going to mix this all up until it gets nice and crumbly. And then once that is all mixed together, we're going to press it into the bottom of our already greased springform pan. All right, so I've got the crust mixture into my pan, my springform pan, and I really just used my knuckles, and I pushed it down, and then I raised it up the edges a little bit. So that is what it looks like. Now we're gonna take our filling and get all that mixed up. So first up in the filling, I've got my 2 boxes, 16 ounces of cream cheese that I've had sitting out for a little bit just to get nice and soft, and my 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I'm just using an electric mixer. If you guys have a KitchenAid, feel free to mix this however you want, but I'm just using my handy dandy hand mixer, and we're gonna mix this all up. Once that is all mixed together, you're gonna add some more ingredients. So I've got the pumpkin puree, the pumpkin spice seasoning, the vanilla extract, the cornstarch, the sour cream, and again, with our electric mixer, we're going to mix all this together. You should just have the toppings and the eggs left. All right, so last up, we're going to add the eggs, but one at a time. So I've got one in here, I'm gonna mix that up, and then I'm gonna add the second one. All right, now that I have all this mixed up, I am concerned at the size. I think this is too much for this pan, but we're gonna pour as much as you can, slightly to the top, not all the way, because it is going to expand a little bit, and see how much is left over. Okay, never mind, that was not as bad as I thought. That's pretty much all of it. There's just a little, maybe like less than ½ an inch there on the bottom of the filling. So now we are going to get this set up in our Instant Pot. I've got my pumpkin cheesecake in the Instant Pot. Remember, I already have my water and my trivet, and then I just put my pot in here. Now when this is all done, you're gonna need oven mitts to get this out because it's gonna be super hot. So we're gonna go ahead and put our lid on and make sure that it is sealing. So in this pot, sealing is in the middle. My other one, I turn it over here. So I just wanted to point that out, that this is sealing right smack in the middle. And then we are going to do manual, which is automatically high pressure, and we're gonna go up to 33 minutes for the cheesecake. So the timer just went off. Now I am not going to release the pressure manually, which means I would turn the nozzle to venting. I am going to let the pressure release naturally. So the Instant Pot automatically goes to keep warm, and it will start counting up, but I'm just gonna wait until my little nozzle drops and the pressure is completely released. All right, so that took about 12 minutes. I know you guys can't see it, but the little button that's in there was up, now it's down. I am gonna go ahead and press this just to make sure. Yep, no steam. So let's open her up. All right, I knew I filled it a little bit too much, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this out and just pat off the extra water from the steam off of the top. And then we are going to put this in our refrigerator and let it chill for 6 hours. All right, I couldn't wait the whole 6 hours. It's only been 5, but it is after dinner and we are ready for dessert. So I just took it out of the springform pan and then used a huge spatula to lift it off of the bottom of the pan, put it on the plate, and then just put, because my kids love this stuff, you can use whatever kind of whipped cream or no whipped cream you want, but I just sprayed it around in the circle and then drizzled the caramel sauce all over it. And I gotta tell you, it smells so good. Can't wait to eat it. Okay, last recipe, and using a new accessory. I am so excited for this. I love the Starbucks egg bites. I can't wait to try those in here. But today we are making little mini pumpkin pies. So I've got all my stuff set out here. I am going to need a cup of water for my Instant Pot. I have my trivet already in here, set down there. And then I'm going to be spraying this with some Pam just to help it keep from sticking. So those are all the extra items. Now these are the ingredients for these mini pumpkin pies. You're gonna need 3 tablespoons of graham cracker crumbs, 2 tablespoons of butter, and I am going to be melting this butter, 2 eggs, a 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree, or if you made yours homemade, use that. I am all out of the homemade stuff, so can it is. A 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, half a cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and then 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Okay, so for the crust, all we're going to do is mix the graham cracker crumbs and the melted butter up until it is nice and crumbly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I am using a bigger bowl than needed just because I'm going to need a bigger bowl for the filling and I don't wanna dirty more than I need to. So my crust is all mixed together. I'm just gonna use half a tablespoon and I'm gonna put that amount into each of my little molds here. Okay, I've got the graham cracker crust all in the bottom there. So cute. And I just used my finger to kind of press it to firm it up and up the sides just a little bit. The recipe is linked down below. They suggested using like a shot glass just to press it down, but again, I didn't want to dirty anything extra. So my fingers nicely clean and washed worked just fine. All right, now all of this needs to get mixed together in the bowl. All right, all of my other ingredients are in the bowl, so I am just going to use a spoon and slowly mix this all together. Okay, all my ingredients are mixed together. I transferred it into this measuring cup because it has a spout and it's going to be easier to get it into your molds if you have it in something with a spout. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill these up, but I don't wanna fill it all the way because it is gonna rise a little bit when it's cooking. So I think that's about good. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish filling these up and then we're going to turn our Instant Pot on. So this recipe makes a lot of these apparently. The graham cracker crust was spot on. I used exactly what was called for, but look how much I have left over. So you can make a lot of these if you feel like stacking these in your Instant Pot, baking them one at a time like you do cookies in the oven. So I am gonna go ahead and get this one in. I'm just gonna show you guys one batch and I'll finish these up. But now we are going to take the lid off the Instant Pot. Don't forget to plug it in. I've already got my trivet in there. I'm gonna add my 1 cup of water because your Instant Pot needs water to pressurize. And then I'm going to set my mold right in there on top of the trivet. All right, there is my egg bites mold sitting in my pot. Now we're going to close the lid and make sure it is sealing. And then again with the manual, which is just high pressure. If your pot does not have a manual button, it just means you're cooking it on high pressure. And I'm gonna go up to 35 minutes. So my 35 minutes is up, and just like with the pumpkin cheesecake, I'm going to do a natural release, which means I am not going to turn my nozzle to venting. I'm gonna let it sit until the knob over here falls down. 17 minutes later, it is all released, or it should be, so there we go. If you guys hear my dishwasher in the background, that's what I did while this was naturally releasing. So it is nice and hot. I'm gonna pull this off. Look at that. Now I am gonna take these out, again using oven mitts because it is gonna be very hot, and I'm gonna let this cool completely before popping these out of the mold. Oh my goodness, how cute are these? I am in love with this. I think this is perfect for just a yummy small after dinner dessert during this fall season. This is almost perfect. So we are a family of 6. This does make 7, but that just means my husband and I get to split an extra one. Okay, I have to say the pumpkin bread was my favorite. Even though it took a really long time to cook, it was so good. But I'm a huge fan of bread. So that was definitely my favorite. Let me know if you guys have tried any of these recipes in your Instant Pot already and what you think, or let me know which one you think you are going to be making, because I'd really like to see which kinds of these recipes that you guys enjoy to see. So with that, do not forget to go check out Jennifer's 5 fall inspired soups. If you are new, I would love for you to subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload if you don't want to miss a video. And give this video a big thumbs up if you love the Instant Pot. I'm so excited I now own 2 and that the Pioneer Woman came out with one, because if you guys know me, I have a lot of Pioneer Woman items. I'm actually thinking of sharing a haul, not really a haul, but items that I already own that is by the Pioneer Woman. So let me know what you guys think about that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.